So, everybody, people from metalmemesmx, I'm here today with the band Pythagoras, which I found the name of the band quite fucking great. Like, you know, a lot of people like don't like math and shit, but yeah, I do it, and I think the name it's great. Like, it sounds like really cool. You guys are from Long Beach, California,
Yes.
which is a place I fucking love. Like, I love California in general. So, well, it's my pleasure to have you here, guys. How are you doing?
Be here. Thank you.
Oh,
And
man.
we appreciate all the promotion you've done for us too as well. It helped a lot.
Yeah.
We've tried a lot of things and we haven't had a whole lot of success with promoting ourselves. So we really appreciate the help.
Yeah, yeah. Promoting. I have a band as well, and self-promoting. It's hard, but I believe it can give you a lot of things that maybe if you get into like a huge promoting company, maybe you won't get after. So I think that's good. And well, you guys have two EPs now and one LP.
Yep.
And well, something I noticed from your music that I kind of find quite amazing. It's you have this like you're young guys, but you have on your music you have this like old school plus like new school death metal like all mixed together, which is something you don't hear too often, because maybe there's a little bit of like a fight on this music kind where like we want to sound just old school and we want to sound just like new school, but you guys have it merged it together really well. So I wanted to ask you, how did you came up with this idea of merging like it's the same like type of music, but how did you manage to put together the old school with the new school and make it sound like really well combined?
Thank you. And it honestly was not intentional. It was more that I'm kind of old. I'm like in my approaching my mid 40s now. So I've been listening to metal for a long time. And I death metal wasn't always that technical. It started out more at the brutal end of things and pretty straightforward, and then as it evolved over the years, it got more and more technical. So I like it all. I like the older, more brutal, like simple stuff, and I like the newer, more technical stuff. And I listen to a lot of tech metals, well, not just only tech death, but like tech metal stuff. Like with tech death, there's like Archspire, and then tech metal, there's like elite bands like a Legion. So I listen to a lot of stuff like that too, but I never wanted to lose like the brutality of like the more old school, like brutal death metal. I think a lot of more new school death metal bands, they don't really, the riffs aren't very brutal and their song structures aren't really as appealing as some of the older stuff. So I like to have a mixture of all of it. Like I don't like to commit to one subgenre, so it's kind of a mixture of everything. Because I listen to everything and I like a little bit of
Oh, that's nice. And you got it right, because as I told you before, like I was listening to your songs and I was like, oh, these guys like mix together really, really well, like the old school with the new school. And well, something else, like you're not at all old, my brother. Like mid
everything.
40s is not that fucked up.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. There's like way older people. And
You
I,
kind.
and your music sounds young. Like I can recognize, because I love metal, I can recognize like all these old school like maybe inspiration, but I can really feel the new wave thing.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, yeah. So well, I wanted to know that. And well, my second question is, have you ever played in Mexico?
We have not.
Oh,
Would love to.
Yeah, we'd love to. The farthest we've played, I think, is like Las Vegas, like Northern California, and like San Diego. We really haven't had a whole lot of luck getting booked for bigger shows or faraway shows or festivals or anything like that. We really, we've tried getting booked for better shows, but we really haven't seen a lot of love from promoters and or record labels for that matter. Like we've sent away our, not really our demo, but our full on LP to record labels and to promoters and booking agents, and we just never hear back from them. But then again, we didn't have an electronic press kit put together until like maybe a few days ago. So hopefully that's a game changer for us. I think a lot of places require that, but no, we just really haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to play anywhere else. But we'd really love to travel and play some other places other than just here in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I feel you on that one, because a lot of times these things, it's more about like knowing someone than playing fucking really good, you know?
It
Like,
really is.
yeah, with the band, that happened to us a lot on the beginning. Like we knew we have like great songs, but we haven't like played for someone that really appreciates it and can that could like put us on a bigger stage with and I don't know, like bigger bands, or maybe a festival or something like this. But yeah, I mean, it's this thing, it's about like knowing people and getting connected, and then like, oh, these guys like us, so maybe they can invite us to another like bigger gig or something like this. So yeah, I feel you totally on that one.
It really is. And honestly, like we honestly don't even get a lot of love for promoters, even in locally. Like we never get put on big shows to open for big shows at bigger venues. We get passed up constantly, and like whenever we play shows, though, like people really like our music, but for some reason, like you said, it's about who you know, and like we don't click up with a lot of people. And honestly, a lot of the promoters are more purist. They want like purist death metal or like purist thrash metal. They don't like the mixed genre stuff too much. We might be opening for a larger band at a larger venue in early September, but it's not completely 100% solidified right now. But if we do end up doing it, it'll be our first large gig.
Well, I hope you do, because yeah, your songs are really nice. And yeah, it's all about like connecting with this kind of people. And maybe with the press kit, maybe you can connect easily to this kind of people actually. So well, you mentioned about this thing being locally, and I have this question about California, because California, it's a place I personally love. Like I've been visiting California like all my life. I've been there like, I don't know, 6 times maybe. And something I noticed is that since the pandemic began, it went like a little bit downwards, because there's a lot of like social problems, a lot of like working problems, a lot of like these things happening with the homeless people, that they're like everywhere. And at the beginning, like the government was like, nobody works and nobody do nothing, and stuff like this. So I wanted to ask you guys how hard like this thing has been for you, because maybe this thing has a little bit to do with this other thing you were telling me about, not getting like the love and the people and maybe the gigs. Like, I don't know, how much does this situation in the state affects you as a band and as like an entrepreneur band, you know?
Definitely didn't help. We had just recently acquired a new drummer right before the whole COVID thing happened, and we were getting dialed in with him. He's excellent drummer, and then COVID hit, and all the shows pretty much stopped. Our drummer really freaked out; like he wouldn't even go outside for like 3 or 4 months, and then he had some kind of a meltdown. So he's like, "All right, fine, I'm going to practice again. I have to practice." So we ended up not playing any shows for a while. Like shows completely stopped, and then I think about maybe 3 or 4 months into COVID, one of the promoters that Frank from Death Camp, a promoter that does actually show us a lot of love in this area. He had this huge outdoor backyard show in South LA where it was just gigantic. Like we're like, how the hell did this even happen? This huge backyard, and like hundreds of people showed up. So that was a nice break after not getting to do anything for a long time to all of a sudden play this huge outdoor show. It was almost like a festival. But aside from that and like a few shows in other counties that weren't as quite as strict as LA, it really kind of set us back. It set back a lot of bands. A lot of bands stopped touring, and a lot of I think a lot of venues actually kind of almost closed down or did close down too. So it definitely hurt the scene a lot. It hurt us as a band. It hurt a lot of bands really, and we were able to play some shows in neighboring counties where the restrictions weren't as bad as LA, but LA, it was important in the beginning to have the restrictions, but I think LA took it a little bit too far, where like they extended the restrictions too long, and put too many restrictions on businesses like venues that rely on having shows and crowds of people. So once the vaccines were out, they continued these really strict restrictions in LA specifically for a very long time. And after the vaccine came out, there really wasn't much point. It was like, why are we even doing this anymore? So I think LA was hit a lot harder than a lot of places in California in general. Definitely.
Yeah, I believe it totally, because I mean, I'm not from the US, and I don't live there, but and maybe I don't have an opinion on it, but I've been watching like all this stuff happening from afar, and I'm like, fuck, like I love this place, and I feel bad that all of this is happening there, and I bet it affects like the local bands, and well, not just you guys as a band, like the business point, like the people, like everything. So I wanted to know like how much this affects you, because yeah, it's a huge problem. And like now thinking about it, from this that you said earlier, we something we did that I think worked very well for us, to go to other states, was like we played a lot of like local events, but sometimes other bands from Mexico came to these events. So like we became like friends with these guys, and then they invite us to play in their state at I don't know, maybe the gig was not huge, but a lot of people like recognized us from there, and then their fans became our fans became their fans, and it was like this like cooperative like work between bands from different states, because we like their music and they like our music, and so then we share the stage, and a lot of people listen to us, and they like this, and so they invite us to other places. And maybe I don't know, like I don't know how bad restrictions are right now, but if you get like I don't know, gigs with bands that aren't, I don't know, from Florida, which is a huge death metal state, or I don't know, like places like that, maybe you can get like gigs outside of LA, which, as I told you, I love, but it's not like the ideal place right now, maybe.
It definitely would have been nice to link up with some bands from Florida because they really had no restrictions at all the whole time. California had some of the toughest restrictions in the country, so you know it was definitely frustrating to see all these other states that were still having shows, and like we couldn't have shows, and like couldn't have in-person school. Like I'm an engineering student, and it was really hard to continue school, and my GPA took a hit on that too. So it definitely would have been nice to link up with some other bands in other states if we had already reached that level where you're playing out of state, but prior to that happening, for sure. Yeah. It's nice though that you were able to link up with some other people with your band, and kind of get like a kind of thing going where you guys would help each other out with shows. That's definitely important.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, that was previous to the pandemic, because then the pandemic hit, and we all like got a little bit down, because here in Mexico there was a little bit of restriction first, and then like little by little it was like getting things open. But yeah, something like this. So maybe you can relate to other bands from other states, and then you can play outside. Yeah. So, well, this next question got nothing to do with that, but I wanted to ask that because I love like California, and it's sad to me to see all these things happening. But well, my next question, I don't know if you guys know this, but Mexico, it's a huge like metal scene place. We have very huge festivals, metal fests, actually. So I wanted to ask you if you would like to play in any of these festivals, and or if there's any festival that you would like to play here in Mexico, actually.
I think we'd like to play. We definitely like to play any festivals we can in Mexico, or any shows we can. And the scene, from what I've seen, the scene is definitely huge there. It's probably better than it is in the United States, honestly.
A lot more love.
Yeah, I think we would definitely love to play some festivals there, and it'd probably be a good time for us to start searching on social media for some upcoming festivals. And now that we have the electronic press kit, maybe trying to get booked for some of those, get our passports ready and stuff.
Yeah.
But that would be great. We would definitely love to do that.
Yeah, totally. And
learn Spanish.
yeah. and they bring a lot of bands from the United States, from Canada, from Europe and stuff. So yeah, I wouldn't like, I wouldn't say it's impossible. So maybe, yeah, you just send the press kit and maybe they'll ask you to come. So yeah. And I really believe Mexico, it's the biggest place on the continent for metal fests specifically, because we have Hell and Heaven, we have Candelabrum, which is fucking heavy as shit, and all of them are like 2 days, 3 days. You know, like very few are like just one day of festival. So that's really cool as well.
It sounds a lot better than here. There's what's his name? The guy Katon from Hyrax. The Hyrax is local to Long Beach, and they're always the Katon, the vocalist, is always posting pictures of them playing festivals in Mexico and further down in Central America too, and South America, and like it definitely looks like a more robust scene than we have here. You know, it would be awesome to be a part of that.
Yeah, it might be. At least maybe the fans are crazier, because here the fans like really love the bands. Like they may not know the band that is playing on the moment, but they are like they give it all, like their energy, and they're like, you know. So that's really cool to see, because we're in every festival here in Mexico, so we get to see that live, and we're like, yeah, Mexican fans are fucking like the real deal, you know.
Yeah, as soon as you promoted our stuff on your social media, we got like 1,000 more followers in like 12 hours. So we're like, damn, those are all probably for people from Mexico, and we're like, man, we really need to be, if it's like that, we definitely need to be playing some shows down there, because that's intense.
Oh yeah, I'd recommend that like 100%, because I think people here in Mexico do engage a lot more as fans than any other place in the world, maybe. I don't know, because I've seen people here and they're like, you know, they give it like their soul to the bands. So yeah, maybe you should look up for that. So, well, I got this last question. Well, one I always ask. So, what's the craziest thing that has happened to you on the metal road? Doesn't even have to be like playing live. Maybe like we were going to this gig and this happened, or maybe, I don't know, whatever.
That's a good question. There's been some we played a house party in San Diego once where it was there was a huge half pipe in the background, like, or excuse me, the backyard. It was all like half pipe, like this big backyard, but it was a gigantic half pipe, and there were all these skaters back there. And the show was in the living room, and people started pitting in this living room, and I'm like, oh man, something's gonna get messed up. We get fucked up in this living room. So somebody ended up going through a window when
Oh
during our
shit.
set. Yeah, they were pitting hard during our set, and somebody ended up going through the window, and we thought that was pretty funny. We actually have I put a picture of it of the broken window on the electronic press kit that somebody went through. So that was pretty fun. It was awesome.
Oh shit. That's, well, putting that picture on this thing, like it does is like a really like real death metal thing, you know. So
Pretty
yeah,
brutal.
that's
We were pretty
crazy.
proud of that. Like, hey, they went so crazy that like somebody went through a window. So that was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, like it's the first time ever someone told me that someone went out of a window in their gig. So yeah.
It's pretty cool. We've had some interesting when we went up to the first time we went up to the Bay Area to play a show. It was like it was one of the hottest days of the year last summer, and it was like 100. It was like record breaking. It was like 115 or something between LA and the Bay Area, and we were like driving up there in my '97 Camry with like three guys in a '97 Camry and all this gear and no air conditioning. So it was hot. That was pretty intense. Like I had a gallon of water that I was drinking off of, and like a couple hours into that heat, it felt like I was drinking like soup broth or something. So
Oh shit.
we were just like sweating the whole way. That was pretty intense. By the time we got there, I was just like dehydrated and like exhausted. It was gnarly.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, man, that's like that those roads from California and Vegas and Nevada and all these places are crazy, like this like desert, you know. So yeah, I believe it 100%.
Yeah, it gets hot. It gets hot over here.
Yeah, here in Mexico it's really hot as well.
Yeah.
Like yeah,
It's
yeah.
hot right now over there.
Oh yeah, here where I live, it's not the hottest day today. I don't know in Fahrenheit, but today we might be like 34, 35 Celsius,
It's like
which I think I think 32 Fahrenheit, it's 0 Celsius or something like this.
Something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's hot as fucking here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like humid there too, huh?
Here it's not humid. Here it's dry as
Okay.
shit. But
Oh.
there's places here, like in San Luis Potosí, in the Huasteca, which is like a jungle. Like that place is super hot, and you like get out the car and you sweat instantly. Your shirt, like it sticks to your body, like
Right.
you know, like
Yeah.
it makes a vacuum.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy.
Dang, man. We
Yeah.
definitely gotta come over there and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mexico, we got a lot of like very cool places. Like when you're not playing, like you should visit. Yeah. You should do like a traveling here.
Yeah.
I'd
Mini
like to.
tour.
I lived in California for like at least a decade now. Probably over a decade, like almost 15 years, and I've never actually gotten to go to Mexico yet. So I'd like to go.
Yeah,
Get the passports ready.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think like you should do like the passport thing, of course, because but we are not like, well, our like migratory system, it's not like as harsh as the US system, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if you want to share your social media, something like this.
Oh yeah. Our social media on Instagram and Facebook is Pythagoras Band 1 on both platforms. We have a new YouTube channel. It's Pythagoras.metal is the YouTube channel name. And oh yeah, our electronic press kit is at Reverb Nation, and it goes under Pythagoras_metal at Reverb Nation. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's the important ones there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, listen.
Funny, in our link tree, for some reason, I was like at it last night, like trying to get our link tree dialed in.
Yeah.
And for some reason, like if you click on Apple Music, it goes to some weird anime channel that has like weird anime like clips and like anime music. So that's not us. If anybody tries our link tree, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, that's weird. Hey, man, technology, it's fucking like weird. I got like hacked like 2 weeks ago, and all my social media, it's fucked up still. So yeah, I don't know. Like internet, it's a sketchy place.
Definitely.
Definitely,
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Pythagoras from Long Beach, California. Had a pleasure to interview you guys. I hope I can see you here in a festival, or maybe I don't know, my band can play with your band someday.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking awesome. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate the interview. Thank you so much.
brother.
Yeah, of course. Anytime.
Later, bro.